Today on the show, we have Lexi Moriarty, CRE, CCIM. Oh, wow. You guys are really going to enjoy this interview. She's got breadth and depth of experience that goes beyond imagination. So let's get to it.
Part of my heritage is Greek,
Mm.
and Axia is a Greek word that means value or worth.
Mm.
And that is what we provide. We provide greater worth for a portfolio. I'm passionate about helping people get more from their real estate
Mm.
and not make mistakes. And I love beating and exceeding their expected return. Because I've had the good fortune to work in many parts of a commercial real estate investment, from lending to appraisal to asset management, looking at property management, looking at acquisitions and dispositions, really could see the asset life cycle from an investor's viewpoint. So asset management is the strategic side of running a property. When you're an asset manager, you're like the captain of a giant ship.
Mm.
And you need to figure out what's going to happen in the future and plan for that.
Okay,
It goes
I like
hand in hand with property management. Asset management is the strategic side of running a property, and property management is the tactical side.
Mm.
And if you have strategy without the tactical,
Right.
nothing's going to get done. If you have the tactical without strategy, you're not going to know what to do. So asset management is the strategic part of running a property. So the biggest thing about asset management is you never want to be surprised.
Mm.
So the worst thing in a real estate investment is surprise. Something bad is going to happen.
Mm.
Although you do need to be nimble.
Mm.
Some things happen in commercial real estate that you just can't, you cannot anticipate. For example, if a retailer in an anchor store needs to leave, then what do you do?
Right.
That could be your main strategy. And then you have to pivot and figure out what opportunities that presents to you. We had great fun redeveloping properties, empty anchor boxes, junior anchors, to either split them up, redevelop them as one retailer or several, figure out what we can do with the rest of the land that would generate income. And that's how we did that. And it was very fun. Your investor has a goal for what kind of return they want from their investment. And your job as the asset manager is to help them get there. Favorite things to do, I like to ascertain the goal, see what we can do in terms of getting there, and then exceed it. So my target client is really a developer or a startup fund, or rather a new fund that needs some help, not just in asset management, but in putting together systems, processes, standards, and technology that will help with reporting and investor relations and asset management. Run the numbers so that you know what to expect in 10 years or 15 years. But people who have bigger portfolios where there's more to go wrong and there are more pitfalls out there do need a strategy. They need a plan. You need to have a goal. So for the most part, what we do is look at a client's portfolio or their management structure and look to see what we can do to add value or create efficiencies. And generally what I do is create a 30, 60, 90 plan where here's what we're going to look at in 30 days. That's generally looking at the portfolio, doing our own research on the markets, or doing our own research on management consulting. Then in 60 days, we've got the strategy laid out. And then within 90 days, we have the implementation plan in place.
Oh, wow.
And then we go from there. So depending on what the investor's time frame is, we kind of work backwards from that time frame to try to get them to the return that they're looking for. It's funny because some people think that they can buy an investment and then sit back and let it run itself. And that is a major mistake, because all properties, I don't care what they are, but all real estate, commercial real estate investments require active asset management. And that is looking at what the timeline is, what the return horizon looks like, and keeping track of market forces and market research to make sure that you're still, that asset that your client has is still either, you know, somewhere in the top of the market. The fund life of a property is usually anywhere between 5 and 10 years. And you need to do whatever you're going to do with the asset to get the return that the client needs within that time frame. And sometimes people lose sight of that time frame. It's sad, but it's true that some people have lost a lot of money by losing sight of their fund time frame, and they come to the end of the fund life and they're not where they need to be with the asset, and the asset then sells for something a lot less. First arm of defense, if you will, or sword of defense in looking at a real estate asset or portfolio is to look at the data and look at the markets, where the opportunities for them in that market. And we reported on multifamily, retail, hotel, office, industrial, and seniors housing. Data is valuable. Data is a differentiator. The financial community and sold this data set to Wall Street, and it became the supply of real estate that could then be married with the demand side of for real estate, so that people could see where the opportunities were, where demand was greater than supply. One of the things that I was able to do for one of my clients was bring a technology solution to them to roll up all of their leasing and into one big portfolio dashboard. And that way the CEO and the leadership of the company could really see what needed to be addressed. We took for that particular client, they started out with a 30% vacancy in their portfolio. And after 18 months and bringing a technology solution to them, we were able to bring vacancy down to 5%. And honestly, you guys, everybody should know this, that if your vacancy is less than 5%, you're not charging enough rent. So you always want to have some vacancy to leave yourself an opportunity. It brought leasing to them so much faster. The technology brings leasing teams from around the country into one platform, and it just speeds up everything. So aside from being a great reporting tool, it was a great tool to create value by leasing faster. I have my portfolio of properties that I have worked on has always been national.
Mhm.
And as a result, I have a really large network of collaborators around the country, lawyers, architects, GCs, leasing people, you name it, I can pretty much find a person that I have either worked with or can ask for a recommendation.
Well, it was such
Thank
an
you.
honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. I just feel like you dropped a lot of knowledge on us, a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience, and I think people are going to get a lot out of this interview. So thank you.
Thank you so much. The honor is mine. I appreciate it. Thanks, Jamie.
Well, that's it for today's episode, a deep dive into asset management. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode.